So in an effort to do something a little different on the channel, I went out and I bought one of these like fortune prize wheel type thingies. I don't know, I guess I thought it would add a little randomness to some of these videos, you know, but really, of course, it's just a gimmick. Gimmicks aside, 2 spins and a few hours worth of work, and I had this to show for it.
Reader, writer, farmer, priest, free controller, born deceased. Soily, Soily, the cat in satin trousers said it's oil.
Now, if you're interested how I got here, how I built this arrangement, just keep watching because I'm going to show you every step here on Bird's Eye Keys. Have you ever started a creative project only to be overwhelmed by the possibilities? Having so much freedom, so much to the point that it makes you less free, is an interesting paradox. And I think one of the best things that you can do to overcome this paradox is to find a focus within that freedom. Enter this thing. Now, the idea here is that on any given day, this wheel will determine the focus of the writing session. This could be write a song using a particular mode. But today we're keeping it simple. On the wheel, I have a list of songs that I have been meaning to cover. First spin determines the song. Second spin determines the song style. Soily by Wings in the style of 9 Inch Nails. They're pretty similar, honestly. I guess I'll start with the drums, just because I don't want to listen to a metronome the whole time I'm working. Actually, no, maybe we can learn something. Huh. I wonder... The April 15th, 2005 update to the 9 Inch Nails website included a link to a multi-track GarageBand file of this song. I wonder if it's still on the website. It's 15 years ago. There it is, the hand that feeds. Read me from Trent. There's a text document in this file from Trent Reznor. Hello all, for quite some time I've been interested in the idea of allowing you the ability to tinker around with my tracks to create remixes, experiment, embellish, or destroy what's there. I imported and converted tracks to Apple Loop format so the size would be reasonable and the tempo flexible. Okay. So for now, I'm just going to take this part, just the main drum part, and copy it into my sequence. And then later I'll come back and pick the parts that I want.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
What? People! Can you imagine? Yeah, so this whole song centers around one note. It's almost Lennon-esque in that way. I can really hear John Lennon singing this melody. Paul McCartney's not singing with his falsetto there. He's singing a G above middle C with his chest voice, and my chest voice maxes out at like E above middle C. So that's a difference of a minor third. The original key is E, so to make this work for my voice, I'm gonna have to transpose it down a minor third at least. That would put the top note at an E natural. People gathered, I want you to listen to me. I think I might get a little worn out by how persistently high-pitched that is. People gathered here tonight. So that puts it at a tritone away from the original. That is as far away as you can get.
People gathered here tonight. I want you to listen to me. Soily, Soily, in the cat in satin trousers said it's oil. Soily, Soily, in the cat in satin trousers said it's oil.
I don't think the 9 Inch Nails part is going to come from these chord changes. I think once all the parts are tracked, I don't think it's going to sound like a Steely Dan tune like it does right now. So next I want to record a similar bass line to the hand that feeds. Okay, yeah, so that goes in the key of B flat. That would be... So I'm just going to improvise a bit off of that idea.
People gathered here
be really cool to make that last note a flat 2. It might be more effective to make the first part of the verse a little more sparse.
People gather here tonight. I want you to listen to me. To your left and
Maybe on the 4th one, it should be like just something completely different, like a fill. That's cool.
to your left and to your right. Some pretty soily company. Reader, writer, farmer, priest.
Cool, that gives it much more shape and momentum. There's a unison line in Soily in the chorus that would be kind of cool if I could work it into the arrangement somehow. That right there.
Soily, soily. In the cat and satin trousers said it's oil. Soily, soily. In the cat and satin trousers said it's oil.
Oh, I like this part right here. That's like the most 9 Inch Nails part so far. It really feels like that part needs to be repeated somewhere. I'm gonna try putting it at the end of the first chorus. That could be like an instrumental or like a solo section. What would be really cool is to take the last 2 figures of the solo section and use it as an introduction. The next thing to do is copy the verse and chorus. Should probably do a different figure on the second verse. Now, since that fill ends on a G and is a little unresolved, I'm going to make it so the fill in the second verse is completely resolved. It feels like it needs another chorus, but not in the same way.
Soily, soily. In the cat and satin trousers said it's oil. Soily, soily. In the cat and satin trousers said it's oil.
I should really have that line
Soily, soily.
continue through the new changes.
Soily, soily. In the cat and satin trousers said it's oil. Soily, soily. In the cat and satin trousers said it's oil.
Yeah, and then the only thing that's left is that ending. So that line starts a minor third above the root in the original. But what would work better is if that line started on the 1, which would make it end on the 6. That could actually be really good because the first riff starts on G, and then it comes back in the middle of the piece. So if we start that figure at the end of the piece on the 1, that'll make it so that the piece ends on the 6th scale degree, which in our key would be G. Just giving it that little extra symmetry. Now, the last few steps of this project were more about production than arranging. That's something that I'll leave for another time. If that's something you're interested in seeing or you enjoyed this video, please take the time to like and subscribe so you don't miss out. Thank you so much for watching, and here is the finished video.